I just want to say I was glad to see all you guys here, the younger ones here, the mixed in with the older ones. You know, I almost had to stop and say, okay, let's intermingle, everybody get in with a seat. Because it's the same thing that happens. Seniors go here, freshmen go here, sophomores go there, and we're like, no, you know, we're one team, we're one family, we are Flowermound, and so let's intermingle, get to know each other, and help each other out. So it's wonderful to say. I hope you guys keep on coming back. This season, as she's talked about, you know, my plan really is on Monday night is we'll recap Friday night's game real quick, and then I'll give you the scouting report. I'll tell you the same thing we tell the kids. You know, there's no secrets out there anymore. But that's how we'll try to do it on Monday night. We'll try to have fun. It won't take a long time. We'll be quick, but you know, we'll do the scouting report and you know, the keys that we think is going to take place in the next game, and who to look for to watch, and do that stuff. So the more you guys are involved, the more you're going to enjoy it, and you know, you'll know who to stop and when to cheer and when to yell at the offensive line coach.
Yeah.
So I appreciate it. Nobody has anything. I don't have anything else.
Can you give us a current update on your coaching staff?
Oh, yeah.
Who's gone, who's come in, who's still coming?
I can't really tell you who's going. You know, it's a tough situation. There will be some movement, some changes. You know, I really can't say because I mean, you know, the word it's speculation's out there. I'm sure the kids already can see and tell, but officially nothing's happened yet. So you know, out of respect to those guys and Rocky and stuff, I really can't say. I know I have Scott Campbell's coming in as our offensive coordinator. He should be here. I got Michael Saint coming in. He's been head coach of Arkansas. We coached together for a while coming in to coach. I can tell you the ones that are here for sure. You know, we still have Justin McDaniel still here, who coached offensive line. Patrick Watson, who coached offensive line. Kelly Kirkland will be running back. Scott Grantham will be receivers. Greenway will be secondary. Coach Samples will be linebackers, and then Coach Harrison will be D-line. And those are the ones that are officially, and unless they leave between now and next year, which they haven't given any indication that they wanted to. Those guys are real excited. We're splitting up the kids right now. After we get back to spring break, we'll start really getting into the football aspect of it. And so they're excited. They're really excited. They were excited about this incoming senior class and this year already. So you know, out of those guys right there, they seem like they're coming home ready to go. And we have some other ones that we sprinkling in. So you know, those are the ones I can say for sure, and the rest. I guess you got to read between the lines.
How many more do you have to replace? That'll be easier to say.
What's that?
How many more do you have left to replace?
I really have, unofficially, 2 more spots open.
Okay.
You guys see what I'll tell you the same thing I told them. It's nothing personal. There's 2 kind of coaches in this world, those who have been fired and those who are going to get fired. And that's just the nature of the beast. You know, when you take over a new place, you want to bring in people that you trust and that you know and that you've worked with. So you can't, you know, it's all about a trust. And some of those guys were great. I know they've done a lot of good things here. So, but teaching fields, they had the teaching fields I had to bring in who I wanted. And I told those guys up front too, it's nothing personal, but it's just the nature of the business and the nature of the beast. And so that's just kind of where we are in that. So it's going on.
Coach Harrison, the defensive coordinator?
Yes, he's defensive coordinator, defensive line coach.
When does the offensive coordinator start?
As soon as that school let him out.
Okay.
You know, it's and that's the tough thing now. It's not like the good old days about 4 years ago where they just create a spot, pull them in, pay them, and go. Now, you know, that school is not letting him go. This school says we don't have a spot for him yet anyway, and you know, so it's, you know, because of the budget, it's real tight for everybody, and of course the new testing. That's the biggest scare down there. They want them office where we're going to go, because she's like, he's one of the best teachers I have, and so this is a big year because it's a new test coming up. And so she's like, you know, that's my game day, and she's telling me, so, you know, I can't let my best players go. It's like someone getting hurt right before the, you know, like I need him. And so, you know, she was promising by the end of March, because by then everything's in, and it's, you know, the test that last week in April. So that's kind of where we are with all those.
As a practice coach, what is your philosophy, Coach? I've watched practices here before, and there's a lot of standing around. What is your philosophy?
You know, The kids have done a great job. I mean, they are so excited just for change. And so we've changed some things and getting after them. We're testing right now, I don't know if you heard, and they're doing really well. Some of them made some great improvements. Of course, that changed the way we tested also. I went away from the 1-rep max. The number one reason, I know Sharon was down here earlier, the number one reason is just safety. I don't want to put a whole bunch of weight on the bar and doing it one time. You know, their bodies are still young and fragile, and everybody's different. Some have grown, and they're done growing. Their bodies can handle it. Some guys' growth plates are wide open. You start stacking all that weight on there, it's dangerous. So, but they're getting after it, and they're doing everything that we're asking them, and I believe in hard work. I think that's the number one key to success, so we're driving and pushing that way. You know, practice, my first plug I'll throw in there is they have to practice. That's just one of my secrets. They have to practice. Through playing experience when I was a player and through a coach, it's just hard if they're not at practice to get everything done. And so I have a policy, and I'll give that out right before school starts, and they have to sign it, and you guys have to sign it, and you'll read it. And it's just basically simple, you know, be there. You know, if you're not there, you better call me, and call me for a certain time. And then we'll figure out every way in the world to get you there. You know, because some things you can't handle, you know, but we need to practice. And so my deal in practice, I'm the same way. I don't like standing around. You know, it's hard with as many kids as we have out here and the low number of coaches that we have. You know, some people are like, you got 13 coaches, that's a whole bunch. Well, now when you have 350 plus kids, you know, that's not a whole bunch. And then limited space. But hopefully you'll see a practice where kids are always going. You know, I mean, that's our mindset. That's how we said it. I don't want anybody sitting around. I want everybody practicing. I want everybody participating. And that's our goal. As I told you before, every kid will play, especially on the sub-varsity level. Every kid will play. And I tell these kids here, if you're showing up every day and you're giving me all you got, I will find a way to get you in the game because you deserve it, you know. Yes, our number one goal is to win the game, but it's not to overcome a kid's high school experience. You know, I don't want it to overtake that. I don't want to ever overshadow that. You know, as I told you before, I just believe in character. If character, these kids do things right, we'll win. That'll take care of itself. But you know, if these kids are doing what we're asked, I want to find a place for them. That's the number one thing that we're about. But you know, I'd like to say my practices are very up tempo and fast paced. So just in the aspect that everybody has a job, everybody's doing something. We try to already incorporate that into our weight room. No one should be standing around. Even when you're resting, you shouldn't be standing there resting. And so we're trying to incorporate that in our practices. You know, I'm trying to get the schedule changed. We have 4th period athletics, and we'll have that silver team. But that silver team will get down here, and they'll practice as soon as they get down here. We'll tell them they should be on the field at 2:15. From 2:15 to 3:15 is their practice time. And so they get a whole hour, 30 minutes offense, 30 minutes of defense, and then they'll go to study hall and go home. And then we'll have the blue team and the varsity come out after that, and we'll have them practice. You know, and so there shouldn't be any standing around whatsoever. You know, when the varsity is at one end going, then the JV will be at the other end. You know, and hopefully you'll see that in spring ball. You guys are all welcome to come. And my deal is I want them all going. I want them all in there. And we just try to set up everything that way. You know, because you never know. You know, when someone gets hurt, the next guy's got to be ready. And it's in the NFL where you just work your starters and wait till that happens to get the next guy ready. And so that's just kind of my philosophy on that. And so our practices, they're live. You know, we get after it. You know, our number one goal is telling kids we're going to be the toughest team physically, and we're going to be the toughest team mentally that they're ever going to face, they're ever going to play in this region. You know, in Region 1, if you can do that, then you have a chance to get out of the region and keep playing. And so we'll be going live. We'll have, you know, I always tell the kids, I start off and I say, everybody's live. Even quarterbacks. Everybody's live. All right? They're all free game until I come up to you and say, okay, you don't do that anymore. I've only had to do that twice. But no, we teach tackling. That's the number one fundamental in defense. You know, the first thing is don't get, line up right. When we tell them don't get beat by birth. Line up right. That's the start of everything defensively. And then be a great tackler. You know, that's all we want. And tackling, the thing I love about tackling is just all effort. Anybody can be a great tackler. They just have to want to. And you can tell right then and there who really wants to play and who doesn't. It's just through tackling. And so, that's where we start off. But no, we'll go live. We'll have a lot of live tackling. But then we'll teach them too. grabbing a kid and slinging him around and throwing him down is not a good tackle, nor is it tough.
Right.
You know, and so, we're totally against that. If you ever see a kid, slinging around, that kid who did that will get more in trouble than anyone else, That's not a tackle to me. And so that's not being physical to me. And so, those are things that we'll try to teach the kids, but we'll spend a lot of time on tackling and hitting. They should be sore. They should be tired and sore every time they come home, but they're really getting after it. I was telling them, as you brought that up, I'm trying to change the commitment and the attitude all the way around. And it's real simple, I was showing them some of the plays offensively, Coach Harris was doing a little bit defensively, we'll really jump into that. But basically what I told them is this is the mindset that I want us to develop, all right? You have to develop, and I tell our coaches this too, every play that you design, either whether you're a defensive coach or an offensive coach, you design it to beat the state champion. That's what you should all be thinking. That's all you should be thinking about. If you don't, to me, you're wasting your time. But then I'll tell them why. Because if you don't, and you're just designing plays to win games, when you get to the state championship, you'll get beat by 50 points because you didn't prepare for it. They are champions because they've already learned how to practice and prepare. And they play at that same level. To make the point to the kids, I tell them, I don't know if you've ever been out here, I said, when you play Marcus, is the practice and the feeling not completely different? And they're like, oh, yeah. I said, exactly. Yeah. And it should be. That's where I begin, But champions practice that way every single game, and then when they get to that one, they step it up another level. And so that's the challenge I'm putting on our kids. Because you guys see the difference. I know you practice differently. I know you act differently, and you think differently in that week. And when you can take that week, and you can stretch it from day one all the way through, and then when you get to that week, you step it up a notch, then you don't beat Marcus, you beat Marcus by 21. But then you're ready when that first, second round, you're playing that champion. But now you've already practiced against them for 15 weeks because they practice that way. That's why they're the champions. And that's my deal on practice. That's where you win games.